this question that we're now landing on fully. We discussed it at length with former Marlins front office executive who knows what it's like to work in a front office with an owner known for meddling, and talking about that yesterday, having a full-on conversation about, is this David Tepper's doing? Who ordered the code red? David Sampson thinks it was 100% the owner. My question would be, why would an owner order the code red on the player that he, his family, all went in on, along with the staff at the time, and traded away DJ Moore and everything? Like, I don't have to review the litany of what the Panthers gave up. And hiring a guy who no doubt said, I've got this. There's no way David Tepper hired a coach saying, I'm either here nor there on Bryce Young. I'm iffy. Let me get in there. Let me get my hands dirty before I make a decision. No, I mean, anybody who wants the job in Carolina has a full-on plan. This is what I'm going to do with Bryce Young. And then 2 games in, and he's benched one day after the coach gave a full-throated, he's my quarterback. So there's a lot of questions about it, right? There's a ton of questions about what David Tepper did and why he would want him benched. It makes no sense that he would want him benched. But whose fault is it? Obviously, there's some operator error with the kid. I understand that. But you hire a coaching staff for the kid. You're all in with the coaching staff and the kid. And you fire the coaching staff 11 games in. I understand Bryce Young had only 1 win when they fired Frank Reich and everybody. I'll go back to it again. Troy Aikman had 1 win his first year as being a first overall drafted quarterback in the NFL. That's how you screw it up. You hire a coaching staff. You've got the first overall pick in the draft. You get in a room. You make a decision. We're going with that kid. And then the coaching staff that you have hired to surround the kid with everything that he needs to be successful in his first year, you fire them in the middle of the season. Total disaster. And then you hire somebody else who 2 games in benches him. Either on his own volition or your prodding. I don't know. I can't wait to find out the answer for all this, how it did happen. But yeah, you can't just say, I've got a plan, and then 11 games in say, oh, there's no plan here. And then at least in Milwaukee, right, they did that with Giannis. They'd already had one in the case, right? They had a coach that had never really done it before, and you bounce him in the middle of the season as the Bucks did, but you hired Doc, right? Dave Canales doesn't have Doc's resume, a ring, years of playing, decades of experience. So you may have the currently wrong coach right now, which is unfair to the coach. But it's clearly all over the map. And the worst thing for the Panthers is if Dalton gets hurt right away. Suddenly, Bryce Young's your only other quarterback, and you got to play him now as a benched guy, a guy that's been taken out because he needs a breather. And now it's just like, hey, kid, hope you enjoyed that breather of 5 days of everybody wondering if you're in the right spot anymore. And Louis Riddick saying he's got to leave to find a new spot. I hope you enjoyed that whole conversation. But now that's Max Crosby. That's Christian Wilkins. You go to work, which can happen. I hope it doesn't. For everybody's sake, Young's, Tepper's, Canales's, Dalton's, Dan Morgan, everybody. They're probably all hoping that this is the right move. But I don't know the metric by which you say, Bryce, you're ready again. He's not going to get any reps in the season with the ones if Dalton stays healthy. Albert Breer coming up on what he knows about what the owner had to say about this benching in hour 2. So, again, we're going to keep talking about it because I don't recall another time where the rug's pulled out from underneath a first overall drafted quarterback, unless that's not the proper terminology because he is so patently unready for the moment right now and has regressed because the coaching staff you hired to surround him gets fired 11 games in, and then he's got an interim staff, and then after the interim staff, you bring in a guy who's bringing in a new system, a new way of doing things, and you don't play the kid at all in preseason until at the very end against a bunch of players that aren't going to make an NFL roster, and that's the way you go into the season against the Saints and the Chargers, and that's the result you're going to see. And the crazy thing is that if any way, shape, or form, as Louis Riddick mentioned, and he might be right, that the benching comes a day after C.J. Stroud on national television looks the way he did for the Texans, and he's just taken off like a rocket ship. If C.J. Stroud has anything to do with the expectation level being raised for Bryce Young, who did Bryce Young get his first career win against? C.J. Stroud. He's beaten him. He's 1-0 against Stroud of the 2 wins. Can't make it up.
That's funny.
Can't make it up. And I hope the Panthers aren't making it up as they go along now. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.